Okay, so this is the final today. You guys are actually done with me. So you guys are in great
Oh,
shape. Um, anyone have anything good to bring up or exciting regarding a conversation they had with a client or something that maybe is on the horizon for between the holidays or right after the holidays?
yeah, I actually have a little bit of good news. One of my friends recently got married. Him and his wife are going to venture forward, and they're looking to purchase their first house. So,
Awesome.
off of my group text on being hired at the office, my friend got back to me. So, we're going to connect in the beginning of January, and hopefully, I'll become their agent as they pursue their first home. So that would be a great way
Good
to
man.
start the
Good way
year.
to start the new year off.
Yeah,
Excellent.
exciting.
I had a conversation with Amanda yesterday, and one of the things we talked about was don't get down on yourself. Don't get down on yourself if you're hearing, oh, this one's doing this and this one's doing that, and everyone's saying, even though of COVID, it's the busiest time of the year. Don't buy into that. Buy into your own business. Okay, which means if you feel that way, make an extra phone call. And even if it's somebody that, if you're looking, because Amanda, after you walked out yesterday, I went through my phone. I must have 50 or 60 names, and excuse the expression, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I didn't. So Amanda, I'm with you. You know what? Like I told you guys, I learn something or remember something every single cycle I do with Ignite. And now I'm writing names down. I'm trying to figure out, how do I know these people? I mean, normally, it comes back. It was a lender or another agent on a deal. I'm looking at this phone number going, I don't remember it. So you know what I did? I had a couple of glasses of wine and I started dialing for dollars. And I reached out to 8 of them, and 3 of them reached back.
That's good.
3 of them
There you go.
reached back, and one of them was another agent that I didn't remember. And she said, oh my God, we got to do another deal. It was, it was great. And the other 2 were buyers that I didn't represent, that bought into one of my developments 10 years ago and the other one 6 years ago. And just said, it's so funny, we're thinking about selling, and our agent never reached out to us. So if you're willing, right after the holidays, we'd like to touch base and sit down and find out what we can do.
Yeah. After we spoke yesterday, I ended up going through some of my contacts.
Good.
And what I did is I typed their name in on Facebook to see if I could get a face to their name. I got a couple, but I mean, 2 is better than nothing.
Okay, but you know what? That's 2 more than you had the day before.
Yeah.
And remember what I've said, it only takes 1. Okay, it only takes 1. If you're on social media, great. I'll tell you one that works really well for me is LinkedIn.
Oh.
LinkedIn is great because it says what they do for a living for the most part. Whereas with social media, you're not really sure, and everyone doesn't have their photo up on LinkedIn, but at least by that, you can go with it and figure it all out. Okay. Like one of the names in there was a relative of somebody that I did a deal with, and they had actually gotten involved in the transaction indirectly, and they were helping their client because they had given him a gift. So, gift money, and I had put them in, and he just said, he goes, you know what, you were really cool during that. He goes, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking about maybe buying an investment in like March or April, depending on where the economy is. So immediately I just said, what are you thinking about? And I just wrote a note down. I said, you know what, I'll be in touch at the end of January. And then he sent back, goes, well, I did say March or April. I said, I know. I said, I'll be in touch at the end of January to make sure this, Amanda, this is exactly what we were talking about, to make sure that you don't wander to somebody else.
Yeah.
And he wasn't offended by it, that I just said, I'm gonna stick to it. Okay. So stay the course, stay where you are, and don't get down on yourself. And look, one of the things I always say in real estate, you're not in competition with anyone but yourself. So if you hear all these other people, they're doing this, they're doing that, or, okay, well, I talked to Peter and he's done this, and, you know, he was saying that. Remember, I'm at this 22 years. Most of you are at this, you know, less than 5 minutes. It takes time to build your business, but it doesn't take time to build your database because it's already built in. And I'll say it again and again. This is the single most important asset in real estate for you. Sarah, you're driving. If you're peeking down at this, you better be careful. I'm warning you. Okay. Okay. All right. So
Peter,
let's
uh,
so
Peter,
let's
I
talk
ask
a little
you-
bit where we're at. Okay. You got your deal done, you closed, you got to do the victory dance, which is great. Make sure your file is totally up to snuff with Demetra on transaction point. Okay. And make sure that you've really done everything. Now, you know, you can't use a transaction coordinator for your first 3 deals for the simple reason that we want you to make sure you understand the paperwork and how to do it. All right. So I want you to keep that in mind. So one of the things that I learned at the most recent in-person family reunion from Gary Keller, and I will tell you, when I go to family reunion or mega camp, the only reason I usually go is to listen to Gary. I mean, the guy is brilliant. He's truly a visionary. And for an old dinosaur like me, seriously, I'm not that tech driven. Okay. That's why you're going to see my younger daughter who's back from college in the background today. She does all of my technology. She does all of my marketing. She does all of my e-edge command. She's converting all of my files this morning that I've recently closed onto CDs so we can remain paperless. Okay. But Gary has kind of convinced me that technology is rewriting the rules for just about everything we do, except for one thing. And he had that book, The One Thing. And that comes down to, don't ever lose your people skills. Trust me when I tell you that real estate, as much technology as will happen, okay? You know, and Khalid, we've talked about it previously in the last go around and Ignite that you were on. Don't lose who you are, okay? I mean, those of you like Mark Parrish, you know, you've got a sphere and a database, and you have a whole other world and career, 2 of them that you've shared with me. But those are all people. And a lot of times, like when you're out on audition, they're like, we love Mark. We got to find a spot for him. Okay. I want you to be able to have somebody say to you, you know, I love the fact, Charlene, she's so personable. She's so nice. She's so patient. Okay. It's all 3 things they don't say about me. But I want them saying that about you, because it's all about who are people comfortable with. Okay. And you know, you're gonna go up and down. Your emotions are they're gonna rage. And it's gonna be up to you to work it. So we're reinventing this job almost every day. You know, there are companies out there right now that are saying they're the most cutting edge in technology. You know, that's what they're all about. All the companies are out there pretty much offering very similar, you know, different technologies, different systems, different processes, but it's up to you to how you want to do it. Because what you're really doing is re-imaging your own business. So you will determine how much technology you want to put into your business. Okay, only you'll determine that. But don't become please don't become a drone. Don't become a robot. Please, please, please make sure that when you're working, that you always have that personal skill, because it's going to come back to what I said on step 1. People love to work with people they like. People, especially, you know, again, you're like this morning is it's 10:12. Okay. I've talked to another agent on one of my transactions 6 times this morning. Okay. I talked to my wife the last time I left the house. I've talked to 2 of my buyers twice, because we're trying to get these 3 deals closed before the end of the calendar year. So they're going to look to you and they're going to see how fragmented and how you are. Okay. We're creating new industries while we're eliminating other things. and only you are going to be able to handle that. People are going to look to you for recommendations. You never, ever, ever tell somebody this is my first deal, because you tie in with your training director, not your training director, not your mentor, your partner. Please get in the habit of calling your training director your partner. Okay, it's that important, because like I said to you, you're very, very fortunate in this office. All of the training directors / your partners, all are active. Okay, we're all top producers. We're all people that are current. We have our own portfolio of business. Like I said, if you go across the street to Berkshire Hathaway and you're looking to be as mentored, they're going to take somebody who's pretty much retired or has been dead for 10 years and just won't admit it and hasn't done business that long. I knew, Amanda, you'd laugh at that because I said that before too. Okay, I'm just telling you right now, if you're in the business, eat it, talk it, sleep it, think it, play it, okay? This is more of a relationship with the consumer. And those are the things that Gary Keller talked about, okay? So I want you to take the relationships that you have and push them. Push them into a new industry so that the agent isn't just an agent. He's a person. Put a face to it. Put a personality to it. Put emotions to it. And I know I've said several times, don't be emotional. Bullshit. If you're not emotional, you're not vested in it. But don't be emotional and just say, I've had agents, by the way, that have called me and said, I have to have this deal. I'm desperate to have this deal. That's not an agent you want to do business with, because their judgment is going to get clouded. They're probably going to do things that they shouldn't do. Okay? They're going to say things they shouldn't say. They're going to back their clients into a corner. But the other thing today is today's agent is also a business person. Now, when I was a kid many years ago, back in New Jersey, real estate agents were pretty much, not being sexist, so don't get mad at me, real estate agents were pretty much housewives. And they did the business for two reasons: vacations and college tuition. And they did it part-time while they were raising their kids. Very, very rarely back then did you see a guy in real estate. But now you have attorneys, you have ex-CEOs, you have ex-business managers, you have some people like me who, ran publishing companies for 20 some odd years, CFOs with really analytical minds that do that. So we're treating this, you have to treat it as a business. You can't do it half-ass, you can't do it part-time. Because if you do, I'm telling you right now, the business is going to pass you by. People are quicker today than real estate agents are. They're on Redfin, they're on Zillow, they're on Realtor.com, they're on your website. They're looking for email blasts, however they get them, on stuff that's off market. I mean, I get more calls every week. Do you have anything off market? And I look and say, well, what does that mean, off market? What does it actually mean? Okay, off market, well, because I've seen everything else. Well, case in point is I got a call yesterday on one of my developments from a young lady in San Diego. And by the time we got done with the conversation, in going over my unit that she called on, I asked her and said, so what are you looking for? And when she told me, I said, well, what you're looking for is not very hard. She goes, I've seen everything. I said, well, what are you really looking for? And I wrote down the 5 triggers, and I sent her 16 properties off the MLS. She had not seen 9 of them. So right now, she's trying to see if she can get up here on Saturday and see at least half of those 9. And this is somebody who said, I've seen everything, okay? So I want you to understand that, that's how the business works. It's very quickly moving. It's very fast moving, okay? It's a mega business. And you want to be a mega agent because you can make a lot of money, okay, by just doing business. And again, think about that very first check you got. What's the average check that you make on a $500,000 deal? Okay, it's a lot of money for 30 days. Most industries don't give you that kind of pushback. So your business can expand every day. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. This is not only a mega business, but it's a very expandable business. Every time you do a deal, you're going to be graded by that client. And if you grade out well, that means it's a referral for you. You want to get to in your business to be over 20% in referral. Okay, work on that. It's that important. If you can get 20% referral base, God, then the rest of the stuff you're doing is going to be child's play. It's going to really fall into an easy thing for you. Okay, so work on that. You got to make sure that you understand the consumer market. Understand what people are trying to do. Always ask questions. Don't assume. Don't try and think, oh, I think this is what they'll want, because that's not for you to decide. It's their money. It's their possession. It's their move. So I want you to do that. But every single day you should be lead generating. Okay, which is what I did yesterday, thanks to Amanda. After we had the conversation, I said, God, I have to look at some of these and figure out what am I missing. And then all it takes is an extra one. So if from yesterday alone, if this one guy materializes and winds up buying a triplex or a 4-unit building, it's a grand slam for me, because it's something that I wouldn't have had I not decided to listen to my own words that I was talking to Amanda about, in saying you've got to make sure you're lead generating and you're expanding your database and your reach every single day. Okay, I know it gets frustrating. I know a lot of times that you look and you say, okay, how do I make this work? What do I have to do to get it to make it go? I want you to also think about, when you're doing your business, going a step beyond and above. That's something you'll never see in Ignite, but that's something that I want to talk to you guys about. It's the personal touch. Okay. One of the things I do when I go through a house and I see they have a lot of clutter, or if it's a probate or a trust sale, the first thing I offer up to them once we get into escrow is a yard sale. Okay, and I do that online. You can go to latimes.com. You can go to the shopper, which is no longer, you don't get those little daily shoppers in the mail. Okay, but I set up my street signs, and I set them out there, yard sale. And I get up like 6 in the morning, because I know the yard sale or estate sale is going to start at 7 or 8, and my signs are out there. And oh, by the way, on Thursday, I go around and I post up on 50 telephone poles that there's an estate sale at a certain property. Okay, I had one client a few years ago make $21,000 on a Saturday. $21,000. They loved me. And I showed up at about 11 o'clock, and they said, this is the real estate agent who put it all together. I actually got another listing out of it. So go do something above and beyond that's out of the norm. Okay, not buy them donuts, not buy them Starbucks gift cards. Do something that's going to be very helpful to them. And a lot of times something that's really helpful is helping clear a house out. So go a step above and beyond. Okay, I'm not asking you to clean the house. I'm not
Peter,
asking
I have a question.
Yep.
I thought that was a genius idea.
Okay.
Is there anything else like that you do to really go above and beyond? Because obviously yard sale and a probate or a trust sale is easy money, there could be hidden gems, whatever. Is there anything else that you like to do that you think would give you that edge?
I know of a real estate agent that helped a client sell 2 automobiles. And they help them go to, those car auction places, or help them go through CarMax, or I forget what the other one was, because some people just don't know how to approach things. Okay, so try and think outside.
Just being a lending hand, just of having creative solutions and being over providing value.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my big one that I like is, I'll be honest, is the garage sale. Because
Yeah.
it's very hands-on, and it also allows me at some point to go on site. And if it's going
Right.
really well, they can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah.
But I don't want Jamazi to become a cleaning service or a
No,
little
not at all.
Yeah.
That's you delegate those
Yeah.
things.
One of the other things I do, if I have a large home and I know that
Right.
if they're downsizing, I'll hook them up with estate sale companies. You know,
With an estate sale
there are
company.
several out there. Something else that I'll do, which which is very, you got to be careful, is if work needs to be done on a home, I'll hook them up with one or two of my handymen, who I know do good work at a reasonable price. The only problem you run into, if somebody has a bad experience, they're going to point their finger back at you.
Back at you because you have to protect your name. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the whole game.
Yeah, and that's a touch and go. And like, I have a lot of clients who will say, while I'm in escrow, who do you recommend? And I'm like, you know what? In this day and age, I recommend a lot of people, but I have had the problem of where people have said, oh my God,
They
you
had a bad
recommended this
experience
guy,
and came
he
back
was
to you.
yeah, and he was a hack, right?
Yeah. And then it spreads on false claims around.
Exactly.
And
That's why I like to focus in on, as I'm getting closer done with the deal, that garage sale or an estate sale, or hooking them up with the CarMaxes of the, look, I don't know what to do with all of this furniture. So go and look.
yeah.
One of the really good ones, Mozzie, again, is Goodwill, because they get to write that off.
Yeah. That's great. And they get to feel good about it.
Right. Or the battered women's home. I mean, a couple of years ago for KW Cares, which really sucks because it's one of my favorite days in May, where we go out to the community. A couple of years ago, we did one for battered women and their children.
Wow.
And actually, it was in Van Nuys, and they were battered women and recovering prostitutes with their kids.
God.
And we went to the
Wow.
house and we painted a couple of rooms in Van
Oh
Nuys.
my
It was
God.
it was a lot of fun that day. And just seeing the kids all run around and
Yeah. I would love to do something like that.
yeah, their shelter home was being cleaned up by a bunch of real estate agents who probably they'll never use or ever have time for. But we made an imprint on that. But I've had a couple of homes where they've wanted to donate furniture, and that's where I've recommended, even more so than Goodwill, because those homes will have a truck driver that will come and pick it up, take it out. So you serve two purposes. You help the house get vacated,
and you serve a larger cause.
And you're serving a better cause by those people. So think to yourself, going a step above and beyond, what can you do to help people? Maybe you can help them and recommend insurance companies or, handymen or different things like that,
A lot of the houses in the valley too need new electrical panels. So that too.
You don't want to be spending a lot of their money, so you want to be able also to give them value added at the least amount of exposure. So you want to be able to try and do that, okay? So when you're looking, you've now gone through so many different things from when we first started to where we're now at. What do you think maybe the number one thing that you've picked up that you're going to implement into your business that you didn't initially think you were going to do?
My job is everything. I thought I was just going to do leases or sell. My job is much more than that. People make a commitment. It's a large commitment to get into a house. You have to tend to their every need, and you need to find creative solutions.
Right. And I know you've come in late in this, but like I said, I want you to make sure that you fully understand that buying a home is one of the big four. Okay, it's one of the big
marriage.
Four. You get married, you have a kid, you get divorced, you buy a home. Not necessarily in that order, but it's one of the big four. Okay, it's not like buying a pair of shoes or leasing a car, or buying a mood ring. It's something
Yeah.
that you're making a major investment in. So we're really helping people live the American dream.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to push through on it. So
Yeah.
let's see who else. Charlene, what one thing do you think now you're going to look differently at than when we first started?
Thank you for the face talk. Time.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Differently is more of their psychologist. I didn't know that I'd have to be there more like Dr. Phil. I did meet with someone who the wife wants to purchase, the husband wants to look for a lease.
Okay.
I'm going to convince them because I'll contact them after Christmas, but now I have to figure out psychologically how am I going to get them to purchase, but maybe they're not really ready to purchase. Sometimes a woman is eager to buy a house and the husband says financially we can't.
Okay, remember this, if they have money to put down for a down payment, you can easily go one of two ways. Rents right now are sky high and interest rates are, basement low. So you can probably from a monthly nut pay less per month as long as they have the money to put down. Okay. Eric, where have you come on this?
I have so many pearls that you have dropped on us over the last few weeks. My favorite one that sticks out at this particular moment is if you don't ask, you don't get. So it's all about just reaching out, being fearless, be confident, ask. Let them know you're in business. Let them know you want their business and be confident that you can do the job for them to their satisfaction.
Good. Diego, what's changed since we started?
Couple things that really stand out is you really have to be confident on everything that you do, especially in the transactions. You have to approach them with confidence. On the good, the bad, and the ugly. You gotta, tell the clients the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Don't bullshit them.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, like you just said it, they'll know it.
Yep.
They'll know when you're trying to pull the rug over them. Okay, and that'll turn them off. They're looking for transparency from you as well on that. Okay.
Correct. Mhm.
So that's good. Let me see who else. Julie, how are you this morning? I think you need to unmute.
Hi, good morning. I actually learned from you that clients, they love to talk about themselves and you just have to listen. And every time I talk to somebody, they just speak and talk and I have you in my head all the time. So you get to learn a lot about what they want and also what you need to take from them once you're done with the meeting and you just go and put a file together. So that's one important thing that I've learned ever since I've taken your class. So it's really about listening to what they're talking about and get from them what they need, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Just
Yeah,
remember,
so
the more you listen, the more you'll get. Okay, they'll lead you
exactly.
to promised land. I promised you that. David, how you doing this morning? What have you picked up that you're going to change or that you're going to implement into your business?
I think, like Charlene said, the psychology aspect of it and how clients go through the you could say like the grieving process of denial and fear and acceptance, and you gotta think on the fly and be able to guide them through those steps so that you can actually complete the sale, and definitely be more confident. Since I don't have that much experience in sales, but definitely taking the extra step to succeed in that aspect.
Remind me what you did before you got licensed.
Electrician.
Okay, well, you're service oriented.
Yeah.
You're only as good as your last job. So
Right.
Just remember that. And electricians are big on referrals, and if you do a good job
Yes.
and you hustle for people, they're going to remember that. So they want to be able to go on that. Jonathan, how are you this morning?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. What are you going to take away from Ignite?
Definitely, you're going to get a lot more no's than yes, but don't be discouraged. Just keep going. being a newbie, like you said, don't say that. Say your partner as opposed to your mentor or your team leader, your president. And yeah, just keep going. For me, it's writing down what works, what doesn't work. And for the things that do work, elaborate upon that. And for even for the things that didn't work, what can I do to make it different? So that's what I've learned since the very beginning.
Okay, good. And remember, even if something doesn't maybe work the first time, modify it. Massage it. Because if it's something that you like, and maybe something I don't, or maybe something Dan doesn't like, or Charlene doesn't like, or Sarah doesn't like, try it, because that's where part of your passion is. And you're not going to know unless you actually give it a whirl. Okay? Because for everyone, it's different. You know, I mean, I'm a little bit more aggressive than most people, whereas I will try to figure out how to make something work just to see if I can prove myself to do it. But if I have to pivot or switch, I'll do that. Okay? So, and you know, so keep that in mind as you're going along on that.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
In a more advanced stage in my career, let's say I'm doing referrals, I cannot take any kickbacks, correct? On the referrals for electricians or construction?
You're not supposed to.
Okay. What if I own the company that the construction or electric company, like a S Corp or LLC? Then I still can't.
If it's not real estate related, you can work out.
If I'm the one processing the transaction, I can't make money on the other sides of the mortgage or the construction.
Well, okay, so let's talk about let's first of all, let's not use the word kickback because that's definitely illegal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
I heard it, and it's an easy way to describe making money on.
Okay, but kickback's a tough word. So let's talk about it for a minute or two, because everyone always asks me what happens when you're approached by that. And I'm not going to lie, after so many years and so many transactions, have I ever given an envelope to somebody? The answer is yes. Okay, I deal with celebrities and athletes, and their business managers always have their hands out. Okay, and you know, they're the first ones to throw in your face, well, you know, I could go to Chris Cortazzo, the #1 agent in Malibu, because, you know, he takes care of me. So you are not supposed to pay people. It is no to pay people who are not licensed to participate in a real estate transaction. What I'd rather do is give somebody a gift certificate for a referral. And by that, I mean, if a client refers me somebody, I'd rather give them a $500 gift certificate to Mastro's or the Palm or
Nordstrom's or something, and then write it off.
Or Bed Bath & Beyond, or Neiman Marcus, or whatever. Because then you can say that it's a gift. But if you're exchanging cash as part of a real estate transaction,
that's unethical.
That person is not licensed. That's a no-no. Okay, and you guys have worked so hard and studied so hard and long to get your license. No one deal is worth it. I have a saying that I'd rather the deal go bust than have it affect my license.
It's
just not worth it.
Yeah, right when I got my license, I started taking my name and my approach very, very differently.
Yeah, you have to. You're only as good as your word and your reputation. So you want to do that. Mark, how are you this morning?
Good. How you doing?
Good, bud.
Yeah, as I was hearing some of the people's with their takeaways, I think the one that I liked best was just the relationship you have with the other agent. And right off the bat, I loved when you said, like, hey, you know, just baseline, where are we at? You know, I just think it's such a great conversation starter to really just hone in on not wasting people's time, finding out exactly what kind of offer you should maybe throw. I really like that. Where are we at? And then just now this morning, on what you said about having a couple glasses of wine and, going through these numbers, like who are these people? I know I'm going to have that moment because I've already seen and going through old contacts. Like I usually put notes, but on some of them, even with the notes, I just have no clue. But it would be interesting to do that and just how to very cold call someone that you may have had a big
I know,
interaction with
and like, who
and
the
have
hell
no
is this
clue.
person? Who the
You
Look,
know?
if we were doing one of our masterminds on a Saturday morning and we were all in the team room, I guarantee somebody would say exactly what you just said, like, who is this person? But most people have said, oh, I'm not going to admit that because I'd be too embarrassed to say that. But every single person on this call right now could raise their hand and say, I've got people that are in there that happens to.
Yeah.
Every single person has somebody in their phone, right, Amanda, who they don't know how they got it, who they are, or even how long they got it. Okay?
Oh, one last tidbit.
Go ahead.
One last tidbit. But in that same vein, a part of me got really excited that, there's a reason for the call. It's not just to say, hey, who the heck are you? But it's like, look, I think they'll take it as a comment if you're just that same baseline straight up where we at is just like, look, I put you in my phone at some reason, at some time for a reason. I'm curious, who it was and how we might know each other. And then if it leads to whether that call or another call, you think they're the right person to approach about an opportunity in this business. I mean, yeah, it's exciting. There's something boiling, like
And what do you
every
have to lose?
possibility.
And what do you have to lose at that point? You didn't
Yeah.
anyway. They're in your phone.
Yeah, you
that
be
up.
straight up. You don't bullshit. And the same way I want to lead my business going forward.
And if it's a warm body, turn it into a hot body.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they just need that little push.
Yeah.
And like I said, oh yeah, I'll look in March or April. And I said, I'll call you the end of January. Just
Yeah.
so I've moved up the calendar on them to be able to do that. Let me see Anna, how are you? Let's see. Diana, have I called on you? No.
Me?
Yes. Hi.
Okay, so I've learned many things. So I think first thing is focus for me and just follow all of the steps, in transactions to make sure that everything is going right. And I had one of my relatives that she asked me that if you have done any listing, and I said no, so I lost her.
Okay, time out. You should have immediately pivoted and said, but my partner has. Okay, and you say, I've been really focused on buyers to date, but now I'm starting to take on listings. My partner, who's your training director?
Armina.
Okay, you should have immediately said that, she's got X number of years in the business and that you're now piling it on. If this was a relative, you should have gone for the emotional appeal of nobody will treat their house better than you because you know it as if it's your own. Okay, and still today, I use that line. I tell people, and it's true, you guys know my wife is my partner. She doesn't show my listings. I do, because my name is on the sign. So when they list with me, they get me. There are too many teams out there that once you sign with the listing agent, you don't see them again. And sometimes you don't even see them after you close, which infuriates me. So I use that personal appeal. So I don't ever want to hear one of you guys say you lost a relative because that doesn't help. Okay, and that doesn't play with me. If it's a relative, they should be with you all the way. Okay?
Can I add something, please? I still think it's if she didn't purchase anything, and she could back out of whatever, and you could still close the deal.
Well, if a listing agreement has been signed, you can't interfere with it.
If it's an exclusivity listing, right?
Well, any type of listing agreement, you can't interfere with it. Okay.
What if it's an
because-
open listing?
Well, nobody signs open listings these days. Everyone signs exclusive rights. Okay.
Okay.
So
And
you've
there's no,
got to
there's
be
no
careful on that. You don't want to get called up on an ethics charge where you interfere
Right.
with somebody else's listing.
so you just have to wait
Also-
until
Also, you don't want somebody doing it to you.
right.
Okay. You've
So
got
you
to have
just
integrity on it.
yeah. So you just wait until the allotted time of the agreement.
Well,
you say, hey,
it's-
how are you doing?
most-
like
Most
the agent going?
most listing agreements are 6 months.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll be 90 days. Okay. Depends on how
Okay.
you're doing it.
Okay.
Okay. Sarah, how are you this morning?
Good, perfect, thank you.
Good.
Actually, I really appreciate all your help. I try to write everything one by one, but today it was the personal touch that you mentioned. And the second thing, I was really confused. Not confused, I was pissed off. Okay, everybody, they're doing something, but what I've done so far. But you're absolutely right. I'm not supposed to compare myself with you or other agents. So really helpful just for today. And then even at my doctor office this morning, I handed them my card, some of my card, and I said, by the way, I'm a real estate agent. I would be so happy to help you if you need to sell, buy, or rent. And then I left some of my cards there. I mean, I think everything is helpful. I just have to go over all of your videos and I will watch over and over. I'm sure every time that I watch your videos, I learn something new.
Make sure that you stay consistent with your steps. Don't just try it once, and if you don't get a response, don't blow it off.
Follow up.
Right. This is why I didn't do scripts or role playing. Try it a different way. Remember, like I said, when I do my listing appointments, it's really a script, but it's not programmed, because you want to customize it for each and every client. So if it hasn't tried one way, throw it against the wall again. It's going to take a couple of times for something to stick, and then you'll get into the habit of saying, that worked. So then when you do it the next time, you'll incorporate that, but try it a different way. Remember, everyone's got a different personality. Everyone receives things differently. It's one of the reasons we have, a handful of training directors, because everyone's technique is not the same. I'm more direct, more boom, boom, boom. Whereas if you work with somebody like Demetra, she's as acknowledgeable as anyone I know in the business, but she's more laid back. So you have those opportunities to work with different types of personalities to make it work. Use your resources. It's really, really important that you use the resources in front of you to keep moving forward, but don't get frustrated. Too many people, they have rabbit ears, and they look and say, oh my God, they're like on fire. What happened to me? Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you keep trying it and you work your sphere, you'll be very successful. But you're going to determine, remember this, if you want to be great, I can make you great. But you got to be the one that wants to be great, because I can't force it. Only you can determine how successful you want to be. And this is a very, very self-motivating business. It's like when I said in the beginning, new agent syndrome is they get a deal and then they go to sleep. There's an agent that I know in this business. I'll say his name. His name is Mitch Bravo. He's been in the business forever. Mitch is incredibly successful, one of the most crass, hard people. He makes my potty mouth seem like a church boy. And he cold calls, and he'll call and call and call until he gets a live one. But Mitch, 30 some odd years in the business, as soon as he does a deal, he goes to sleep. And he doesn't start farming or lead generating until like the day before he's closing. And that's just how he's operated all of these years. He doesn't build out his business, okay? But he has a lot of that ancient age agent motive of been there, done it. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Okay. So only you're going to determine how you want to really run your business to make you understand how you want to do it. Okay. Who else haven't I called on that wants to chime in?
I haven't gone.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've honestly learned a lot from this class. One of the two that have stood out the most was what Eric said, that if you don't ask, you don't get. Because I truly have an issue like of asking people for the business. But I mean, I've definitely developed a confidence after this class to just ask. The worst that can happen is they say no. And then you did an exercise with us in one of the earlier classes where you asked where we were as an agent.
As a closer, as a closer.
Yeah, as a closer. And like we all gave different answers, whatever, but then it's true. And at the end of it, basically we have to be every single one of those closing agents, depending on who we're working with. So that was kind of the biggest thing that stood out to me, because it's absolutely true. Because I feel like that's the way you're going to get the best deals done and get continuous business, is if you adjust yourself to different clients.
You got to be a chameleon. You got to be able to change with each and every client. You know, remember those three triplets, those three homes I sold to each other, okay? You got to be a chameleon in this business to try and really figure out how best it works. That's why a script doesn't work. So you've got to be able to customize every single thing that you're doing to move it along, okay? And only you're going to determine that. So, you know, I'm not asking you to be fake. I'm not asking you to be non-transparent. I'm just asking you to be able to work within your own self on how to make things work best for you. Okay? Who else haven't we heard from?
Hi, I haven't gone.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Good. So I too learned a lot. I came in kind of right in the middle. I just started in December. But again, I've already learned so much. I think some of the things that stood out for me were even you just saying to be a student, and to just really pay attention to their body language, really listen, ask the questions that are important so you can always know what it is they need and they're expecting from you. To turn the negatives into positives, you know, instead of saying things like, you know, you hate the carpet, speak on the positives in terms of, you know, hardwood floors, things like that. Not making an offer until you have those three things was a really big one for me. And then another one that really stood out was the creating the network event that you spoke about.
Right.
And just reaching out to the financial planners and the juniors in the law firms, and doing something that may only cost me $35, but building those very important relationships to get the business that that I need.
Right. Okay. Work on those and build off of those. You always have every opportunity to continue to build off of them. Okay. I think Don, you had your hand up, Don.
Yes. Aside from everything you've, you know, all the sales techniques, everything, the biggest takeaway is just realizing this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If anyone thinks it is, they're dreaming. I mean, everyone.
I think you froze.
$1 million deal, and it's, you know, you start computing the commission, people are in business and all that.
We're losing you, Don.
About it.
We're losing you. We're losing you. We can't hear you.
I think I'm having an internet. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
It's my internet.
Okay. Who else haven't I called on before I wrap this up? Is there anyone else that wants to jump in on this?
I haven't. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys, in order to graduate Ignite, you needed to attend 10 of the 12 classes. If you have, please reach out to Whitney at the front desk and tell her that you've completed 10 of the 12 courses so that you can graduate. Normally we have like a graduation ceremony where we do our certificates and we do have champagne and like goodies and all of that. I promise you, once we all get back together, I will make that up to you guys, because it is a nice little fun ceremony to do. Don't lose sight of why you got into real estate in the first place. Okay, don't get down. I know you can get frustrated. Remember, it's a numbers game. And I'll go back to one of the first things I told you. In baseball, guys who hit 300 go into the Hall of Fame, but that still means that they fail 7 out of 10 times. They're only successful 3 out of 10 times. Think about that. It's a numbers game. In real estate, I said it before, people love to say no. So you're gonna have 7 no's or 8 no's or 9 no's. All you need is 1. And that's the one that you're gonna build off of, because that's the one that's gonna really start to jumpstart your career. Don't say no. Don't ever say no to leases. Don't say no if it's a little bit out of the area. By that, I mean Riverside or San Gabriel or Simi or Ventura, okay? Go to the money. You can do it. You will do it. I promise you that. You have the opportunity to make good money here, okay? But stay amongst yourself and don't compete with anyone but yourself. Drive yourself. If you're not, get your training director partner to push you a little bit. If you need to be jump-started, call me. I'll definitely jump-start you. I'll push you guys along, because after listening to the insight of everyone, I know how successful you can all be. Okay? So on that, I'm going to leave you guys. I want to thank you for those of you that have been there. It's fantastic. And but again, do reach out to Whitney if you've completed 10 of at least 10 of the 12 classes. You've graduated Ignite, and you'll be able to check that off in your training book. Okay?
Peter.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Peter.
Bye, guys. Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Happy
guys.
holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.